So we're going for our RM21 repair. Remember from the last one we did regarding fitting the 12 volt rotor and stator on the Tiger Cub, we found out right at the end that this steel insert in the rotor is disconnecting itself from the aluminium. It's obviously a design fault from Lucas, because I've done a few of these, but it was unusual to find that this was a new old stock unit, and from brand new it's loose. So I have done these before in the past by drilling half in the steel section and half in the aluminium, and putting some small grub screws in, 2 in one end and 2 in the other. I'm going to try something slightly different this time. I'm going to go either M5 or M6 and just 2 on the outer and see how it goes, because the trouble that I have with using small grub screws is because even though they're good quality drills that I'm using, obviously there's not a great deal of if you cut a twist drill in half, there's not a great deal of surface area. So when you put a load on it, the drill will bend quite easily. And obviously if you're drilling into a mild steel, which is okay, it's not hard, but it's a lot harder than the aluminium, the drill always wants to turn to the softer area. So if I go M5 or M6, I've obviously got a little bit more cross-sectional area on the drill. I'll go for a high speed, light pressure. I should manage to get exactly half and half between the softer aluminium and the mild steel. But before I start, if you can see that on this one, the castings are all slightly different. Very rare you find 2 the same, a bit different on the back as well. So what I'm going to do is I'll have to, because the centre section is raised, obviously I can't, if I try to drill that, it's going to want to come this way into the soft straight away because the hardened section is raised. I'm just going to put it in the lathe and I'm just going to skim off and get these 2 faces flush. Then we'll come back and we'll centre punch ready for drilling. So if you can catch that, it just wants, it's probably about 1/2 mil taking off that face, and it's not going to affect the distance of our alignment with the coils, because obviously I'm not touching the back end this time. I'm only going to be putting the studs 2 in the front. Excuse me. So we're in the lathe, so I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I've faced off. I've took about 1/2 mil off, or 20,000 old money. I've used the centre finder. I've scribed across. It doesn't really matter that much, probably because you're in the centre of mass. It's not towards the outside, but obviously if you can get the 2 additional pieces exactly opposite each other, if there is going to be any vibration created, the more accurate you get them lined up, the less chance of it causing a vibration. But there we are, and I've also accurately centre punched, or as accurately as I could, 1/2 and 1/2 into the aluminium and into the steel. So I'm going to go for M6, and tapping size for M6 5 mil. I've got a nice new titanium coated high speed steel twist drill, so we're going to go for it. So I'm going to drill the holes, so I'll be back shortly. Okay, we're drilled and I've tapped, and I've actually done one side. So I've used M6 and I've tapped, probably gone in about 20 mil. Then I've Loctite, and I've wound a little M6 bolt in until it bottomed out and it was solid, plenty of Loctite, and I've just hacked it off with a hacksaw. So I'm going to do the same with this one. Wind it in with a spanner, Loctite in there, bind it up as far as it'll go, slice it off with a hacksaw, then I'll just put it back in the lathe and I'll just tidy up the face. So it's going to work. So I'll just finish this second one and we'll come back. Okay, we made it. Looks pretty good actually. Probably stick with this one from now on. Instead of doing the very small BA ones with the grub screws and either side, just go for the M6 from the front. But anyway, here we are. So yeah, happy with that. So can finally nail it up and job's done. So see you on the next one, guys.